It's been 5 years, 5 long, suffocating years since my family last reached out. 5 years since my world crumbled, my business, my marriage, my dignity, and in all that time, not a single call, not one text, not even a thinking of you card. They turned their backs on me, just like I was disposable, like I was nothing more than the inconvenience of their past. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and tell us where you're listening from. I had no choice but to pick up the pieces alone. My wife Judith gone too soon. My business a casualty of bad luck and worse decisions. I watched everything I built slip through my fingers, and where were they? My father, too obsessed with his failing empire to care. My brother Greg, too busy pretending that his own business disasters were someone else's fault. And Emily, my sister, the one I thought would understand, who always played the part of the dutiful daughter, she never bothered to even check in. I tried. God knows I tried to reach out. I called, I emailed, I even wrote letters. Desperate pleas for some kind of connection, for any sign that I wasn't invisible to the people who were supposed to be my family. But nothing came. Silence. It was as if I had ceased to exist. But here we are now, 2023, the tail end of October, just before Thanksgiving, and suddenly, after 5 years, I get a call. It sets Emily. Rowen, she says, her voice tight, strained. I can almost hear the sweat dripping from her forehead. We need you to sign something, a loan agreement. The family business, it's in serious trouble. We've been through everything, and we need you. Your signature, it could save us. The audacity of it. The nerve. They abandoned me when I needed them most. And now, when their empire is teetering on the brink, they need me. My first reaction is to hang up, to walk away as I should have done years ago. But I don't. Instead, I press my fingers to my temple, feeling the heat of anger rising in my chest. My mind races, but I'm calm. I've been through too much to let my emotions control me now. Not anymore. This time they don't get to call the shots. No, I say, my voice low and deliberate. I said I'm done. But she doesn't set give up. Please, Rowan, you stir the only one who can help. The business, the legacy, it sets all falling apart, and without you we stir done. Just sign, that sets all. Please. A part of me wants to laugh at how easily she thinks she can manipulate me. All these years they thought I was a fool, vulnerable, weak. But they're wrong. I'm not the man they knew. I've rebuilt my life brick by brick, and I did it without them. I feel my fingers tighten around the phone. I'm not angry, no, this is something far colder than anger. This is justice. This is about proving to them that they can't treat me like a doormat anymore. I won't be their savior. Not this time. I end the call with one final sentence. You don't get to use me anymore. I place the phone on the desk. The silence in the room louder than any argument could be. For a moment, I just sit there staring at the wall. It feels surreal, like I'm watching this whole thing happen from the outside. They think they can waltz back into my life, expecting me to come running when they call. After everything they've done to me, they think I'll just drop everything and fix their mess. But they don't know what I've been building all these years. They don't know what I'm holding. They don't understand the leverage I've gained. Before I continue, please subscribe to the channel and tell us where you're listening from. I lean back in my chair, my fingers tapping the edge of the desk. I think about the trust that controls the family business, the one that could destroy everything they've built if I choose to use it. I think about the properties I've inherited, the legal documents that give me power over their empire. The thing is, I never told them about it. I didn't have to. They didn't care enough to find out. All those years they believed I was just a man left behind by the tides of time, but they were wrong. I was watching. I was waiting. And now the tables have turned. The feeling is almost intoxicating. The power, the control. They thought they could leave me to die on the side of the road, but I'm not dead. I'm stronger than ever. I stare at the clock. It's late, but I can't sleep. The thought of them coming to me, desperate, asking for help, it's too sweet. I've waited 5 years for this moment. I have every document, every piece of evidence. I've been meticulously building my case against them without them ever knowing. I know their weaknesses, their lies. I've documented everything: my father's incompetent handling of the business, Greg's disastrous ventures, Emily's manipulations. They won't see me coming. They'll think I'm just some broken man waiting to fix their problems, but I've got something far more valuable than they can even imagine. I pick up my pen and start to write. It's not a letter. Not yet. It's a list. A list of what I have, what they've lost, and what I'm going to take. Slowly, I'm going to watch them unravel. They want my signature? They'll get it. But first, they'll learn that betrayal has a price. And that price is going to cost them far more than they could ever imagine. I sit in the quiet of my study, the only sound the steady tick of the old clock on the wall. My fingers trace the edges of the papers scattered across my desk. Old letters, emails, even photos from a time when things were different. A time when I thought family meant something. But now, it feels like looking at a past life. A life where I wasn't abandoned. A life where I still mattered. The call from Emily keeps echoing in my mind. I replay her voice over and over in my head, but it's not the words I hear, it's the desperation, the urgency. It's the way she thought she could call me after all these years of silence and just expect me to fix things. I rub my forehead, trying to ease the headache creeping in. It's not just the pain from the years I spent picking myself up. It's the anger, the fury that's been building up inside me since that day they all turned away. I stand up, pacing the room. I can't help but feel the weight of it all crashing back in: the loss of my business, Judith's death, my family's complete refusal to even acknowledge my existence when I needed them most. It's funny, isn't it? How easy it is to see the cracks in others when you're looking from the outside. I thought I was alone in my suffering. But now, as I sift through these old emails and letters, I see it more clearly than ever. It wasn't just me who was abandoned. It was the whole damn family, and they've been living in a fantasy ever since. I remember Greg, my brother, the one who always claimed to be the savior of the family business. But when things went south for him, he never looked back. No help, no support, no understanding. Just a quick exit and a string of failed ventures that he hid from everyone. He's a coward, always was, always will be. But my father? His silence was the loudest. The one who built the empire, or at least thought he did. The one who sat in his grand office, looking down on everyone as if his wealth and his name would protect him from any consequence. He thought I was a liability, too much of a risk. I wasn't worth the trouble, especially when my own world was crumbling. The weight of that truth stings. The betrayal stings, but it's Emily, my sister, who truly breaks me. She was supposed to be different. She was the one who grew up with me, who saw what I went through, but when things got hard, she sided with them. She sided with my father, with Greg. She never stood by me, and now, after all these years, she calls and expects me to pick up the pieces. She expects me to save her. I grab a stack of papers, flipping through them. I come across an email from Emily, dated back to when I was at my lowest. She had sent a few words of support at first, but it was the coldness that followed that stung the most. There were no follow-up calls, no checking in, just silence. Just nothing. And that nothing meant everything. I can feel the weight of the years settling in on my chest. The hurt, the betrayal, the quiet suffocation of knowing that my family chose everything else over me. They chose the business, the legacy, the name over me. I wasn't even worth a second thought. I sit back down at my desk, staring at the ceiling. The pain, the memories, they flood back, and for a moment I'm right there again in that dark place where I thought I'd never escape. But something shifts. I don't break, I don't crumble. I take a deep breath and let it go. This isn't about my past anymore. This is about what I'm going to do now. They think they can walk back into my life after 5 years of abandoning me, after 5 years of silence, and just pick up where they left off? No. I've changed. I slide the papers across the desk, aligning them neatly. These aren't just documents. They're the blueprint of my revenge, the evidence that will expose everything they've tried to bury, their lies, their manipulation, the truth of their failures. I pull open a drawer and take out the legal documents, the trust papers. I look at them for a moment, and the weight of what they represent hits me. I could end them with a single signature, I could dismantle their empire, all their wealth, their name, their reputation. It's all within my reach. But I won't do it just yet. Not until I'm ready. Not until I've made them feel the desperation. The same desperation they left me to endure all those years. I think back to that moment when I lost everything. The day the business failed and Judith passed. It felt like the world had ended. But what they didn't know was that I was stronger than they ever gave me credit for. What they didn't know was that I would rise from the ashes. And now it's their turn to face the consequences. I stand up again, pacing the room. I'm not just going to destroy them. I'm going to make them understand the price of betrayal. The game has just begun. And I set them in control. It's strange how the world starts to make sense once you know how to read it. After years of feeling like everything was falling apart, I've finally learned how to pull the strings, and I'm not going to waste this opportunity. I sit down at my desk and open the folder that's been growing with every piece of information I've managed to gather. The weight of it all settles on me. What I've uncovered over the past few months is nothing short of a disaster. I think back to the first time I spoke with Judith after Emily's call. She was the only one who ever truly understood me. She knows what it's like to feel abandoned, to be left in the cold by the people who should have been there. I trust her. I always have. And when I called her to discuss the family's latest crisis, she listened, no judgment, just the kind of calm advice I've always counted on. Rowen, they underestimated you, she said, her voice steady, but I could hear the concern in her tone. You have the power. You, Seth, always had it. Now it's Seth's time to use it. And so I started. I reached out to Dave, my lawyer. He's been with me through thick and thin, and he's the kind of guy who sees things clearly, even when everything around us is clouded. Dave's seen me struggle, but he's also seen me rise. He knows I'm capable of much more than I let on. We need to go deep, Rowan, Dave said. We need to know everything, who Sep's been spending what, who Sep's been hiding what, and where their failures really are. And we need it all. We need the financials, the investments, and their debt. And we need it now. So, we dug. We dug into everything. The family business, the properties, the bank accounts. And what we found, it was worse than I could have imagined. I can still hear the crackle of the phone when Dave sent over the first set of documents. It was like a dam breaking open, the flood of truth pouring into my lap. In the piles of paperwork were hidden debts, failed investments, shady dealings that even my father didn't want to admit to. I sit back, staring at the computer screen. I can't help but feel a sick sense of satisfaction as I look at the spreadsheets, numbers that tell a story of incompetence, of greed, of a family more concerned with preserving their image than facing the truth. And Greg. Oh, Greg. The failed businessman who's been desperately trying to escape the shadow of his own failures. His attempts at a comeback have been nothing but smoke and mirrors, a series of disastrous ventures that drained whatever little money the family still had. But no one talks about it. No one mentions the failed deals, the empty promises. They've been swept under the rug, just like the rest of their lives. I close my eyes for a moment, picturing my father, the man who built the empire, or thought he did, a man whose pride has kept him blind to the reality of the situation. He's too proud to admit his mistakes, too arrogant to see that the world is changing, and his empire is crumbling. But I've seen the cracks. I've seen the way his partners are starting to back away, the way people in his circle are starting to ask questions. But I don't rush this. I don't act out of anger. I've learned my lesson in patience. Revenge is a dish best served cold, and I'm in no rush. The longer I wait, the more they squirm. I look at the trust agreement in front of me, the one document that holds the power to dismantle everything they've built, the one document that gives me control over the family's future. The trust was always meant to be a safety net for me, a lifeline in case the worst ever happened. But now it's my weapon, my bargaining chip. I can feel the weight of the decision in my bones. It's not about signing my name on a piece of paper, it's about control. It's about finally making them understand what it feels like to have everything you've worked for slip through your fingers. The documents I've gathered are damning. They're everything I need to bring them to their knees. But I don't plan on showing my hand just yet. Not until the time is right. I stand up and walk over to the window, staring out at the city below. The crisp fall air seeps through the open window, carrying with it the smell of change. I take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Change is coming, but it won't be easy. They won't go down without a fight. I think about Emily again. She was always the one who played the part of the dutiful daughter, the one who could never do any wrong, the one who always had everything under control, or at least made it look that way. But behind the facade, I know the truth. I know that Emily is just as tangled up in this mess as the rest of them. She may be trying to keep up appearances, but I see the cracks in her armor. She's scared, and she should be. She doesn't know it yet, but the walls are closing in, and soon she's going to have to face the consequences of the choices she's made. I pull my jacket off the back of the chair and head for the door. It's time to take the next step. It's time to see just how far they're willing to go to keep their empire intact. But I'm not doing this for them. I'm doing it for me. For the years of pain, the years of being ignored and dismissed. And when this is over, they won't be able to deny what they've done to me. They won't be able to deny the price of betrayal. It's been weeks since Emily's call. Weeks of planning, of digging into every document, every secret, every lie. And now it's time to make my move. The calm before the storm is finally over. I've arranged everything carefully. The pieces are in place, and I'm not going to waste this chance. Emily doesn't know it yet, but she's walking into a trap. She thinks this is just about asking for a loan, asking for a signature. She thinks she can still manipulate me, still play me like she did all those years ago, but she sets wrong. I pick up the phone and dial her number. The coldness in my chest is still there, but it's not fear, it's control. I'm not angry anymore. I'm calm, calculated. I've done the work, and now I'm ready to watch it all come together. Rowen, Emily answers on the second ring. Her voice is strained, but there's something else in it too. Hope. She's hoping I'll be the same man I once was. The man who would have signed anything for her. The man who would have done anything to make things right. Emily, I say, my voice firm but measured. We need to talk. I hear her breath catch on the other end. There sips a long pause before she responds. Her voice softer now. What do you mean? I thought we could just meet, go over the loan. No, I interrupt, cutting her off. I accept not meeting you for the loan. I accept meeting you to discuss the truth. There's another pause, longer this time. I can almost feel the panic rising in her. She doesn't know what's coming, but she senses something's off. Rowen, she says finally. Her voice trembling now. What are you talking about? What truth? The truth about everything, I reply. My voice unwavering. The truth about the business. The lies, the debts. Your father Sip's negligence. Greg Sip's failed ventures. And your role in all of it. I let the words hang in the air, savoring the silence that follows. Emily doesn't speak for several seconds. She's processing it. She's realizing that I know everything that I've seen through the veil they've been hiding behind. I don't know what you mean, she stammers, trying to hold on to the facade of control. But I hear it, the panic creeping into her voice. She's unraveling, and she doesn't even know it yet. You know exactly what I mean. I say, my voice cutting through the phone line with icy precision. You thought I was just some broken man waiting to be saved. But I've been watching. I've been keeping track of everything, your father's decisions, Greg's failures, your lies. It's all here, Emily. And I'm not just going to sign that loan. I'm going to make sure you understand the consequences of what you've done. She's silent for a moment, and I can practically hear her heart racing. I've already won. She doesn't realize it yet, but she's already lost control. The power has shifted. Rowen, please, Emily finally says, her voice shaky. We need your help. The business is in trouble. You can just leave us to fail. We stir family. The word family hangs in the air like a poisoned arrow. It's supposed to mean something, isn't it? But to me it means nothing. They abandoned me. They ignored me when I needed them most. They chose the business over me, and now they want my help when they can't even keep their empire from crumbling? No, I say again, but this time it's set sharper. You don't get to use that word anymore. Not after what you done. Not after everything you and the rest of your family put me through. There's a tremor in her voice now. She's panicking, she's scared, and she should be. I don't know what you want from me, Rowan, she says. Her voice small now, almost pleading. I just need you to sign. That's all. No, Emily, I say, my tone cold. You still get nothing from me. Not until you understand the price of betrayal. I hang up, the finality of it ringing in my ears. I don't feel satisfaction, not yet. But I feel something else. Control. I have them right where I want them. And Emily, for all her talk of family, has no idea what's coming. I sit back in my chair, staring at the phone. The game is set. I've just made the first move. The board is in motion, and now it's time to watch them squirm. I think back to the trust documents I have. I think back to everything I've been quietly collecting, the evidence. The debt, the lies. I've got it all, and it's all going to come crashing down on them. They won't get a chance to beg for my signature. Not until I'm done with them. I walk over to the window, looking out at the city skyline. The sky is overcast, clouds heavy with rain. It's like the weather itself knows what's coming. The storm is just beginning, and I'm ready to see how far they'll go to try and stop it. This is just the beginning. I've only made the first move, but now they'll see just how powerful the truth can be. They'll see how much damage their lies have done, and they'll finally understand the cost of their betrayal. It's been a few days since my conversation with Emily, a few days since I made it clear that I wasn't going to be their savior. Since then, I've been sitting back, watching as the pressure slowly mounts on them. I didn't expect them to give up so easily. Emily's desperate attempt to reach me wasn't the end. No, this is just the beginning. I can already see it, the cracks in their perfect world are starting to show. But Greg sips next. I'm sitting at home late one evening when my phone buzzes. I don't even need to check the number to know who it is. Greg. It's always Greg when things are falling apart. I let the phone ring for a few seconds before answering. Rowen, Greg says, his voice trembling like he sips trying to keep his composure. I need to talk to you. Teps about the business. I already know what he wants. The family is in crisis, and they're all scrambling now. But I let him talk. We've been having some financial issues, he continues. His words slow, like he's choosing them carefully. I've tried everything I can, but the truth is we're out of options. Emily, she's not handling things well. And I know you've got leverage, Rowan. I know you have control over the trust and the properties, and I'm asking you, no, begging you to help us. Please, we need you. I let his words hang in the air, savoring the desperation in his tone. Greg's never been the one to admit failure. He's the type who always wants to pretend that everything's fine, even when it's not. But now, in the face of collapse, he's finally doing something he never thought he would, asking for my help. But I know better than to trust him. I've seen the way he's failed before, every business venture a disaster, every promise he's made broken. He's a man running away from his own failures, and now, with the walls closing in, he's looking to me to save him. Greg, I say, my voice cool and detached, I don't think you fully understand what you started asking. This isn't set just about a signature anymore. This is about everything that sets happened. The years of neglect, the failed investments, the way the business has been mismanaged. There's a pause on the other end of the line. I can hear Greg shifting in his chair, trying to think of something to say. He's not used to this. He's used to being the one who controls the conversation, the one who gets his way, but not anymore. I know, Rowan, Greg says, his voice shaky. I know I've made mistakes. We all have. But the business, the legacy, it's falling apart. I'm not asking you to fix everything. I'm just asking you to help. Please, I'll do whatever it takes. You name it, and I'll do it. I'll make things right. Taking do. I almost laugh, but I hold it in. He thinks he can buy me. He thinks he can manipulate me with his apologies, his promises. But I'm not the same man I was 5 years ago. I see through him now. No, Greg, I say. My tone sharp, you don't get to manipulate me anymore. I seen everything. I seen how you run from your failures, how you hidden behind the family sep's name and reputation. But I not playing your game. He's quiet for a moment, and I can almost hear him trying to gather his thoughts. but I'm not done. You think you can come crawling back to me, asking for help after everything? After the way you abandoned me? After the way you let me rot in silence while you and the rest of them went on with your lives? I press, letting the words hit harder now. You don't get to make demands. You don't get to ask me for anything. I can feel Greg's frustration on the other end of the line. He's used to getting what he wants. He's used to people bending to his will. But now the tables have turned, and I'm enjoying every second of it. Rowan, Greg starts, but I cut him off. No. You don't get to ask me for help. Not this time, not after everything you have done. I hang up the phone without another word. The silence that follows is almost deafening, but it feels good, like a weight has been lifted. I sit there for a moment, letting the satisfaction of the conversation settle in. I've made my point. Greg's on edge now. He's scrambling, and he has no idea what's coming. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted him to feel the pressure, to know that he's losing control. I wanted him to see that I'm not the same man who used to follow him blindly, who would have rushed in to fix his mistakes. I walk over to my desk and glance at the papers once again. I have everything I need, the leverage, the evidence, the trust agreement, the properties. It's all in my hands, and I'm going to make sure they know that. They want my help? They'll get it, but not before they feel the weight of their own mistakes. I think about Emily again. She doesn't understand it yet, but she will. She'll see how far I'm willing to go to make them understand the price of betrayal. I take a deep breath. It's just a matter of time now. The days since I spoke to Greg feel longer than they are. Every passing hour is another moment that I can feel the walls closing in on my family. They have no idea what's coming, but I do, and that makes all the difference. I sit at my desk going over the documents once again. The evidence I've gathered is enough to bring their empire to its knees. I've been watching and waiting, but now it's time to tighten the noose. The pieces are in place, and all I need to do is apply the pressure. The first step was taking Greg down a notch. He's rattled, more than he's willing to admit. I can feel it. He's clinging to the same old tricks, the same old lies, but now nothing works on me. He tried to manipulate me with his apologies, his promises, but those words mean nothing. I've already seen who he really is, and it's not just Greg. The cracks are starting to show in the entire family. My father's business, once a thriving empire, is now a sinking ship. I've been watching the numbers, watching the deals fall apart, watching as the people who once supported my father start to distance themselves. The partners who once sang his praises are now backing away, quietly but unmistakably. I don't need to make a move just yet. I can feel the tension in the air. My father doesn't see it. He's too arrogant, too focused on his own delusions of grandeur. But the people around him, they do. And they're starting to wonder if they've backed the wrong horse. The business is dying. Slowly, but it's dying all the same. And I'm the one who's going to pull the trigger. I think about my father again. The man who built this empire, or so he likes to think. His pride has always been his downfall. The business was his identity, his legacy. But now it's falling apart, and he's too blinded by his own arrogance to see it. I could destroy him in an instant. I could tear down everything he's built, but I won't do it yet. Not until the time is right. I'll make him suffer first. I'll let him feel the weight of his failures before I make my move. I look at the trust documents again. The real estate, the properties, the bank accounts, all the things that will give me the power to bring them to their knees. I've got everything I need, but I'm not going to rush this. I want them to feel the pressure. I want them to understand that the price of betrayal isn't just emotional. It's financial. It's everything they thought they could escape from. The key to it all is my father's pride. It's his belief that his legacy will be enough to protect him, but it won't be. I reach out to Dave, my lawyer. It's SIP's time, I say. The words coming out like a final verdict. We need to start taking action. I SIP's seen enough. We SIPs are moving forward. Dave SIP's voice comes through the line, steady and assured. Got it. We still start pulling the documents we need. SIP's already been digging into the business, SIP's finances. There's SIP's more debt than they SIPs'll admit, more skeletons in the closet than they want to acknowledge. I nod, a smile creeping onto my face. Good. Let's put the pressure on them. We hang up, and I sit back in my chair, letting the weight of the situation settle on my shoulders. The business is already in decline. The partners are backing away. The debt is mounting, and all I need to do is give it one final push. I think back to Emily. She's in the middle of this mess, but she doesn't see it. She doesn't understand the extent of what's happening. She still thinks I'm some kind of fool, someone who's waiting for the right moment to help them out of this mess. But she's wrong. This isn't about helping them. This is about making them understand the price of betrayal. This is about watching them fall, piece by piece. I spend the next few days going over everything again. The business records, the bank statements, the personal accounts. I want to make sure I have everything in place before I make my move. But I can feel it now, the family's empire is crumbling. It's only a matter of time before they realize they've lost control. I take one last look at the documents, and then I set them aside. The moment of reckoning is coming, and when it does, they won't know what hit them. The day has finally arrived. The moment I've been preparing for, the moment I've been waiting for, the boardroom showdown. It was supposed to be just another routine check-in, a casual meeting to go over the family business's progress. But I've got other plans. I stand in front of the mirror, adjusting my tie, the reflection staring back at me, almost unrecognizable. This isn't the same man I used to be, the man who once begged for their approval, the man who crumbled under the weight of their abandonment. That man is gone. This version of me, this man is here to claim his justice, and he won't stop until every single one of them understands the cost of betrayal. I leave my apartment, walking through the quiet streets of Chicago, the fall air biting at my skin. There's a chill in the air today, but it doesn't bother me. I feel a fire burning inside of me. It's not just the anger anymore. It's the satisfaction of knowing that I've played my hand perfectly. When I walk into the boardroom, I'm not just entering a room full of business people. I'm entering a battlefield. My father, Greg, and Emily are already there. Their eyes follow me as I walk in. But I don't break my stride. I've done my homework. I've already studied their reactions, and I know exactly what they're thinking. They think they can talk me down, manipulate me into doing what they want. But today it's my turn to talk. Rowen, my father says, his voice still strong, though there sets a hint of weariness behind it. Glad you could join us. We need to go over some things. I raise my hand, cutting him off. No, father, we're not going to go over anything. I sent him here for one reason and one reason only. The silence falls over the room like a heavy curtain. Greg shifts in his seat, his face paling. But he doesn't say a word. Emily's eyes dart between me and the others, the uncertainty clear on her face. She knows this isn't just about the business. She knows it's about so much more. I've been watching the family business for months. I begin, my voice steady, every word measured. I've been going through the books, the records, the debts, and let me tell you, what I found is incensed, pretty. I let the words hang in the air, savoring the way they settle into the room. My father's face hardens, but I see the faintest twitch in his eye. He knows what's coming. I know about the debts you had been hiding, the failed investments you had tried to cover up. I know about Greg Sipp's disastrous ventures that almost bankrupted us all. And I know about the way you Sips all treated me, pretending like I didn't set matter. There sets a moment of stunned silence, and then Greg speaks up, his voice trembling. Rowen, you don't set know what you set you're talking about. You set you're just... I'm not done, I interrupt, my voice sharp, cutting him off mid-sentence. I look directly at Emily. And you, Emily, don't think I haven't seen the way you've been trying to keep up appearances. You knew about all of this. You knew, and you never said a word. You just kept playing the perfect daughter, pretending everything was fine. But it wasn't. It's never been fine. Emily's face goes white. She opens her mouth to say something, but nothing comes out. She's caught. She's trapped in the lie they've all been living. And now, it's too late to pretend. My father shifts uncomfortably in his chair, his eyes darting around the room as though he sips looking for an escape. Rowen, this is preposterous. You're making accusations without understanding the full picture. I understand perfectly, I say, walking to the front of the room, my gaze never leaving him. I've seen everything, And now you're gonna see what it means to betray me. You thought I was weak, didn't you? You thought I was just gonna sit back and watch as you destroyed everything we worked for. Well, you were wrong. I pull a stack of papers from my briefcase and lay them down on the table in front of them. It's all there, the financial records, the documents proving the mismanagement, the emails between Greg and his failed business partners, the contracts signed under false pretenses, the damning evidence of their incompetence. The family SEP's business is in shambles. I continue, my tone cold, and I have everything I need to bring it all down. I have control over the trust, and I can make sure this company crumbles if that SEP's what I want. But don't worry, SEP's not going to do that. Not just yet. My father's face goes from pale to a sickly shade of red. His eyes flicker between me and the documents, and I can see the fear in them now. The walls are closing in on him. The empire he's clung to for so long is slipping through his fingers. Rowen, you can do this, he says, his voice shaking. You can just throw everything away. You not the only one who suffered here. Oh, I not throwing anything away, I reply, my voice cold as ice. I simply letting you face the consequences of your actions. I letting you see the cost of what you done. And believe me, it's a cost you be able to pay. There's a long silence in the room, the weight of the truth settling over all of us. Emily looks like she's about to cry, but I don't care. Greg's hands are shaking, his face a mixture of guilt and fear. My father? He's trying to hold on to what's left of his dignity, but he's losing control. He can feel the empire he worked so hard to build crumbling around him, and he knows it's my doing. You can do this, my father says, again, this time more desperate. You not the man you used to be. You acting out of spite, out of revenge. I smile. But it says not a smile of joy. It says a smile of cold, calculated satisfaction. This isn't said about spite. This is about justice. This is about making sure you understand what happens when you turn your back on family, and when you betray someone who said's been there all along. I stand there for a moment, watching the realization sink in. They're not going to be able to fix this. Not this time. Not when I'm the one holding all the cards. The family's empire is crumbling, and I'm the one who's pulling the strings. The aftermath is swift. I've already delivered the blow, and now it's time to watch the pieces fall. It's a strange feeling, watching the people who abandoned you slowly unravel. There's no sense of joy in it, no satisfaction. Just the cold realization that this is what justice looks like. It's been a few weeks since the boardroom confrontation. In that time, the fallout has been nothing short of catastrophic for my family. The business is crumbling. The once thriving empire that my father built is now a shadow of its former self. My father's health has taken a serious decline. He's barely able to get out of bed without assistance. The pressure is wearing him down, and I can see the physical toll it's taking. I'm sure it's the first time in his life that he's truly felt powerless. Emily? She's a wreck. The perfect daughter image she's so carefully curated over the years has shattered. Her reputation has taken a huge hit. The whispers around town and the business community, they're all about how she couldn't hold things together, how she couldn't save the family business. But it's Greg who's suffering the most. He thought he could escape his failures, that he could keep running from the consequences of his bad decisions. But now they're all catching up with him. He's been trying to salvage what's left, but it's too late. The investors are pulling out. The business partners are distancing themselves. His failure is inescapable, and he knows it. He can't hide from it anymore. I watch all of this from the sidelines, and it's surreal. For so long, I was the one who felt small, insignificant. I was the one they dismissed, ignored, and abandoned. But now it's their turn to feel what I felt. It's their turn to face the consequences of their choices. And though I told myself I wouldn't take pleasure in their downfall, it's hard not to feel vindicated. The phone rings. It sets Emily. Rowen, she says, her voice cracking. Please, I need to talk to you. Can we meet? We need to figure this out. This can be the end. I don't answer right away. I let the silence hang between us for a moment, letting her stew in the realization that it's too late. She didn't care enough when I was alone, when I was struggling. She didn't bother to check on me. She abandoned me just like the rest of them. You want to fix this now? I say finally, my voice calm but firm. After everything that Seps happened, after everything you did to me, you want to fix it. There's a pause on the other end of the line. I can hear her breathing heavily, like she's trying to figure out what to say next. Rowen, she says, her voice quieter now, more desperate. I'm sorry. I know I didn't handle things well, but I handle things well, but I handle things for you to help us. Please, this business, this family, it's all falling apart. I don't know what to do. I take a deep breath, my grip tightening on the phone. This isn't about the business anymore. This is about power. This is about control. And right now, I'm the one holding the cards. You stare too late, Emily, I reply, my tone colder than I intended. This isn't about saving the business anymore. It's about the years you all took from me. It's about the years I spent rebuilding my life while you turned your backs on me. I can feel the weight of my words sinking in, and for a moment I almost feel sorry for her. Rowan, please, she says, her voice trembling now. I never meant for things to go this far, but I don't know how to fix it. We've lost everything. I've lost everything. I don't respond right away. I've made my point. She's in pain, but it's the pain of someone who's lost everything. And yet she still doesn't understand. The damage isn't just financial, it's emotional. And I've seen through her act long enough to know that she never really saw me as family. She saw me as a resource, a tool to be used when convenient. I let the silence hang for a few more seconds before speaking again. I've already given you my answer, Emily. I'm done. You don't get to ask for my help now. Not when it steps too late. The line goes dead. I'm sure she's crying on the other end, but I don't care. Not anymore. I hang up the phone and sit back in my chair, staring at the papers in front of me. The business is falling apart. My family is falling apart, and I've done exactly what I set out to do. They learned the hard way what happens when you betray someone, when you abandon family for the sake of pride and greed. They thought they could control me, manipulate me, but in the end, it's me who's in control. The funny thing is, it's not about the money. It's not about the business. It's about what I've gained back. My dignity, my power, the ability to look at them and know that I am not the man I once was. I am stronger than they ever gave me credit for. I watch as the sun begins to set outside my window, the sky turning a deep shade of orange. The storm may be over, but the wreckage is still there, and I'm the one who's left standing. It's been weeks since everything fell apart. My family is scattered, broken in ways they can't even comprehend. The business, the empire my father once thought he could protect with his pride, is gone. Investors have pulled out. The assets are being sold off, piece by piece. My father's legacy, the thing he clung to with such arrogance, is no more. And they still don't understand. They don't understand the price of what they did to me. I sit in my study, the papers in front of me, the evidence I've collected laid out in neat stacks. My trust agreement, the business documents, the bank statements, the family's financial ruin, the final nail in the coffin for them, and the last step in my long, methodical plan. For a moment, I reflect on how far I've come. I wasn't just some helpless man left behind to drown in the wreckage of my own life. I took everything they did to me, their neglect, their abandonment, and turned it into power. I knew the moment they came crawling back that it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about fixing their problems. It was about showing them the true cost of their betrayal. And now they'll face it. The phone rings, interrupting my thoughts. It's Dave, my lawyer. We've been working together for months, and every step of the way, he's been the one helping me turn the legal tide in my favor. Today, it's time for the final act. Rowan, Dave says, his voice steady. I've got the court filings ready. We can move forward with the claims against the business, the mismanagement, the debt. They've all locked in. We've got everything we need. I lean back in my chair, letting the weight of the moment sink in. This is it. The final push. I've watched them stumble, watched them destroy everything they built with their arrogance and greed. and now it's time to finish it. Go ahead, I say, my voice calm. File the papers. Let us make sure they understand exactly what happens when you betray family. Make sure they know there's sips no coming back from this. Dave doesn't hesitate. I can hear the sound of keys clicking, the final pieces falling into place. They'll get the message loud and clear, he says, and I can hear the satisfaction in his voice. I hang up and sit in silence for a moment, reflecting on what I've done. The pieces are scattered, and I've controlled every move. There's no going back now. This isn't about vengeance anymore, it's about justice. The kind of justice that's long overdue. It wasn't just the financial collapse that did it. No, that was the easy part. The real justice was in showing them what they took from me. The years I spent in isolation, the moments I missed with my wife, the struggles I had to face alone while they lived their lives without a second thought. I stand up and walk to the window, looking out at the city. The sun is setting, casting a warm golden hue across the skyline. It's peaceful, almost serene. But inside, I feel something different, a quiet satisfaction. I've regained what they took from me. My dignity, my strength, my control over my own life. They thought they could use me, manipulate me, but I've shown them that I'm not the man I was 5 years ago. I'm someone different now. Someone stronger, someone who knows what it means to stand on his own. I think back to the phone call I had with Emily not long ago. She was pleading with me to help, to fix things, but she didn't understand. She never did. She thought this was about saving their business. Saving them, but it wasn't. It was about setting boundaries, about making them see that betrayal comes with consequences. She called me family, but family isn't just a word, it's an action. It's about loyalty, about standing by each other when it counts. And they didn't do that. They let me drown while they went on with their lives. So, no, Emily, I'm not going to fix it for you. I'm not going to save you from the consequences of your actions. This is your punishment. This is your reckoning. As I stand there watching the city below, I realize that I've gotten what I wanted, not just the revenge, but the justice. And that's something far more powerful. The papers are filed. The case is set. There's no going back now. I've taken everything from them, everything they took from me, and I've made sure they'll never forget the price of their betrayal. It sups over, and I sup one. It's quiet now. The dust has settled and the storm has passed. The chaos that once threatened to swallow me whole is gone, leaving only the aftermath. The family is in ruins. The business, the empire my father once held so tightly, is nothing but a hollow shell. My father's health has deteriorated further. He's a broken man now, the weight of his failure too much to bear. Greg has been forced to step away from everything, his reputation in tatters. Emily? She's trying to rebuild, but she's too late. She's already lost everything that mattered. And me? I've rebuilt my life. It's not the life I expected. Not the one I thought I'd have when I was younger, but it's mine. And it's more than I ever had with them. I sit in my study, looking out the window at the city. The fall air is crisp, the skyline bathed in the golden light of late afternoon. It's peaceful now, quieter than it's been in years. For the first time, I can breathe without the weight of their expectations, without the shadow of their betrayal hanging over me. I think back to everything that led me here. My wife, Judith, the business, the family, all of it. I still remember the day my world came crashing down, the day I lost everything. I remember the loneliness, the despair, the feeling of being discarded like I was nothing. And I remember the promise I made to myself, a promise that I would rise from the ashes, no matter what it took. What I didn't realize at the time was that it wouldn't just be about surviving, it would be about something more. It would be about reclaiming my life, my dignity, and my strength. It would be about showing them that betrayal has a price, and that price isn't just about money. It's about respect. It's about loyalty. It's about knowing that when your family turns its back on you, you don't have to lie down and take it. You can rise above it. You can take back what's yours. I pick up the phone and dial Judith's number. She's been my rock through all of this, the one person who never abandoned me. It's been years since we divorced, but we've always remained friends, always been there for each other. And now, as I sit here reflecting on everything, I realize how much her support meant to me. Judith, I say when she picks up, I did it. She steps quiet for a moment, then responds, I know you did, Rowan. I said, been watching. You sep come a long way. I smile, but it sets bittersweet. It sets over now. They sets lost everything. And I sets gotten what I needed. She doesn't say anything for a moment. She knows what I mean. It's not about revenge anymore. It's about justice. It's about finally letting go of the hurt they caused, the years they stole from me. You did what you needed to do, she says softly. But don't let it define you. You've built a new life for yourself. Don't let them keep taking pieces of you even after all this. I sit back in my chair reflecting on her words. She's right. The past will always be a part of me, but it doesn't have to define me. I've come so far from the man I once was. I've faced the pain, the betrayal, the loneliness, and I've come out stronger for it. I know, I say finally. I learned that, Judith. I learned that the hardest thing is letting go. But sometimes it's the only thing you can do to move forward. The line goes quiet for a moment before she speaks again. You deserve peace, Rowan. You earned it. I smile, a genuine smile this time. I think I finally have it. We talk for a few more minutes, catching up on life, talking about the future. But as the conversation ends, I realize something. I've already won, not because I destroyed their empire, not because I took revenge, but because I've found peace. I've found the freedom that comes with letting go of the past, with no longer carrying the weight of their betrayal. I think back to my father, to Greg, to Emily. They all thought they could control me, manipulate me, use me. But in the end, they were the ones who lost. They were the ones who couldn't handle the pressure of their own lies. And me, I was the one who stood strong. I was the one who took control of my life and rebuilt it. I've taken everything they took from me and more, and in the end, that's what matters. I look out the window again, the city sprawling beneath me. There's a sense of finality now, a sense of closure. The journey is over. The chapter has closed, and I've emerged from it stronger, wiser, and more at peace than I ever thought possible. I've learned a lot over the years about betrayal, about family, about what it really means to stand up for yourself. But most of all, I've learned this. You don't lose when you let go. You win. You win by reclaiming your peace, your life, and your dignity. And that's the greatest victory of all. Months have passed since the family's collapse, and the dust has settled. The wreckage is still there, scattered across the lives of my father, Greg, and Emily. The business is no more. The empire that my father built, the legacy he tried to protect, is gone, and there's no coming back from it. The family name is tainted. Their failures are too public now to ignore. But no longer part of it. I've moved on, and with every passing day, the weight of their betrayal feels lighter. It no longer consumes me. The anger, the bitterness, it's faded. The justice I sought is done. And now, it's just about me. I've rebuilt my life, and I'm finally at peace. The phone rings one evening, interrupting my solitude. I glance at the screen and see her name, Emily. At first, I hesitate. I haven't heard from her in months. After the fallout, I thought she'd realize that there was nothing left to say. But here she is again, calling. I take a deep breath and answer. Rowan. Emily Sepp's voice is small, tentative. I know Sepp's been a while. I know what happened. I know you Sepp's probably angry. I need to apologize. For everything. I sit back in my chair, staring out the window at the setting sun. It's a peaceful evening, the world outside still and calm. But inside, a storm brews. It's not anger, it's not regret, it's something else. Something I hadn't expected. Apologize. I repeat, my voice flat. You think an apology fixes everything? There sips a pause on the other end of the line. I can hear her trying to find the words. I never wanted any of this to happen, Rowan. I didn't mean for everything to fall apart. I didn't realize how far things had gone, how much you been hurt. I didn't see it, and sorry, I was wrong. I can hear the tears in her voice now. The rawness. It's genuine, but it doesn't change anything. It doesn't undo the years of pain, the years I spent trying to get their attention, trying to get them to care while they ignored me. You were wrong, I say slowly, choosing my words carefully. But it sets too late for that, Emily. I sets moved on. I sets rebuilt my life without you, without any of you. She's quiet for a long time. I know she's trying to figure out what to say, how to fix this, but the truth is, there's nothing left to fix. The damage has been done, and I've let go. I don't sit need your apology. I finally add, my tone even. I sept already moved on. The family, the business, everything, it sep's gone. And I sep been better off without it. There's another long silence. I can hear her trying to hold back the sobs, but I can't bring myself to feel sorry for her. She doesn't get to have that from me anymore. Not after everything. I never wanted to hurt you, she says, her voice trembling. I was trying to hold it all together. I was trying to make everything look perfect. And I didn't set realize how badly I was failing. I let out a slow breath, my eyes closing for a moment. You weren't holding anything together, Emily. You were pretending. Pretending everything was fine while I was falling apart. And you know what? I'm done pretending too. I'm done trying to make sense of what you did. I'm done holding on to the past. The words hang in the air between us, thick with the weight of everything that's been said and unsaid. And then I hear it, the sound of her crying softly on the other end. It's real this time. She's not just sorry because she's been caught. She's sorry because she realizes what she's lost. But I don't feel the need to console her. I've done enough of that over the years. It's her turn to face the consequences of her actions. I'm sorry for everything, Rowan, she says, her voice small, defeated. I really am. I sit in silence for a moment, letting the weight of it all settle in. I've heard her apology, but it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change what she did, what they all did. I've forgiven them in my own way, but I don't need them to know that. I've already let go. You can apologize all you want, Emily, I say, my voice firm now, but it doesn't change the fact that I just am no longer a part of your life. I set done. I set done with all of it. I hang up the phone without another word. The silence that follows is heavy, but it's also freeing. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I've closed that chapter for good. There's nothing more for me to do. I don't need closure. I don't need them to understand. I don't need their approval. I've rebuilt my life, and this time it's mine to keep. I sit back in my chair looking out at the world below. The sun has set, and the city is bathed in the soft glow of the streetlights. I realize as I watch the world go by that I've won, not because I destroyed them, not because I took revenge, but because I let go. I've found peace. And in the end, that's all I ever wanted. It's strange, really, how much time can pass and yet still feel like nothing has changed. A year has gone by since I made the decision to leave my family behind, since I took back control over my life and finally found peace. But even now, as I sit here looking out at the city that has become my quiet sanctuary, it feels like I'm standing on the edge of a new chapter, one that I couldn't have imagined a few years ago. I've rebuilt everything from the ground up. Not just my financial security, not just the peace I found in solitude, but my sense of self. And that, above all, is what makes this journey different from anything I could have expected. The revenge wasn't just about taking down the family. It was about setting boundaries. It was about reclaiming what I was denied for so long. And in the process, I learned that sometimes the most important thing you can do for yourself is to let go. I thought about my family a lot during that time, about my father's pride, about Greg's failed attempts to cover up his mistakes, about Emily's desperation. They all thought they could walk back into my life at the last minute, expecting me to just drop everything and fix what they had broken. But I wasn't that man anymore, and I realized something important. You can't fix people who don't want to change. You can't rebuild a family that doesn't see the value in loyalty, in mutual respect. What I did wasn't just about punishment. It was about showing them the true cost of betrayal. And in the end, they learned, even if they never admitted it. They learned, I don't need their apologies. I don't need their approval. What I need is what I have now, my own life on my own terms. It's been a long road, but I've found peace in the quiet moments, in the stillness, in the freedom that comes from no longer being shackled by the past. I think back to Judith, the only one who really understood me through it all. We've stayed in touch over the years, and while we're not together, she's always been there when I needed someone to talk to. She's been my sounding board, my voice of reason, the one person who never left me behind. I've found a sense of closure with her, a sense of balance. The phone rings again, this time a number I don't recognize. I pick it up, half expecting another one of my old family members, trying to reach out, trying to fix something that can't be fixed. But it's not Emily, it's someone else. Rowen? The voice on the other end says, hesitant. It's been a while. I just wanted to check in. I don't expect things to go back to the way they were. But I wanted you to know, I thought about everything. That's Greg. I take a deep breath. It's been a long time since I've heard from him. He sounds different. Smaller somehow. Less arrogant. More human. Greg, I say, my voice steady but not cold. What do you want? I know this might be too late, but I wanted to apologize for everything. For the way I treated you. For the way we treated you. I didn't see it then. I didn't understand it. But now, I do. And I sorry. The words hang in the air for a moment. I never thought I'd hear Greg say those words. I never thought he'd be the one to break first. But I realized something important in that moment. I don't need him to apologize. I don't need anything from him anymore. I've already moved on. I appreciate that, Greg. I say, keeping my voice neutral, but it doesn't change anything. What happened, happened. And we can go back. I know, he says, his voice quieter now. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I wanted to tell you that I regret what I did. I regret how I treated you. I know that doesn't change anything, but I know sorry. I sit in silence for a moment, the weight of his words settling over me. I don't feel the old anger bubbling up. I don't feel the need to lash out or hold on to resentment. I just feel done, it's over, and I can finally walk away from it. Thanks for calling, Greg. I say, my voice softening just a little. Take care of yourself. I hang up the phone and sit back in my chair, letting out a long breath. For the first time, I realize that I truly don't need anything from them anymore. Not their apology, not their approval, not their forgiveness. I've given myself all of that. I've come to terms with everything. I've let it go. And as I sit here looking out at the city below, I know that I've won. Not because I brought them down, not because I took revenge, but because I set myself free, and no one can ever take that away from me.